My beloved brothers and sisters, many times in life we wait for others to notice our pain, to understand our struggles, to support us when we feel overwhelmed. But the truth is, not everyone will understand you. Not everyone will be there when you need them. And not everyone has the capacity to carry what you're going through. That is why Allah teaches us to build strength within ourselves, to stand up even when no one lifts us, and to learn how to support our own hearts with His help. Overthinking comes when we depend too much on people's approval, on their words, on their presence, on their comfort. But when you rely on Allah, you stop begging for reassurance, you stop replaying scenarios in your mind, you stop waiting for someone to save you. You learn how to calm your heart through prayer, protect your mind through remembrance, and become your own support through a stronger connection with your Creator. You don't need the world to validate you. You need the one who created you. And when Allah becomes your source of confidence, your mind will stop racing, your heart will stop breaking, and your strength will be built from the inside out. Rely on Allah before you rely on anyone else. Relying on people before relying on Allah is one of the main reasons hearts keep breaking. Human beings are limited in time, in strength, in patience, and in understanding. Even the most loving person cannot be there for you every moment. But Allah never leaves. He never sleeps, never gets tired, never abandons the one who calls upon Him. When you shift your reliance from creation to the Creator, you stop fearing loss, disappointment, and rejection, because your support does not come from people. It comes from the one who controls hearts. Allah teaches us that true reliance begins when you trust Him even before the solution appears. When Musa alayhi salam stood before the Red Sea with an army behind him, he had no clear escape, yet his heart was calm. Why? Because his trust was in Allah, not in circumstances. Reliance is not believing in what you see. It is believing in the one who sees what you cannot. When your heart depends on Allah, the impossible becomes possible. Many people place their hopes in others because they want immediate comfort, but comfort from creation is temporary. It may help for a moment, but it cannot heal the root of your pain. Only Allah can soothe the heart in a way that lasts. Only Allah can remove a burden without replacing it with another. Only Allah can protect your heart from future wounds. Relying on people without relying on Allah is like leaning on a branch that will eventually break. When you rely on Allah, you stop panicking when your plans fall apart. You begin to understand that your life is not random. It is guided with precision. What you lose, what you gain, who enters, who leaves, and which doors open or close are all part of a divine script crafted for your benefit. Relying on Allah means trusting that His plan is always better than your preference, even when you do not yet understand it. One of the signs of true reliance is that you stop seeking reassurance from people and start seeking it from Allah. When something scares you, you make dua. When something confuses you, you pray istikhara. When something hurts you, you turn to the Quran. You realize that Allah's words can calm your heart more than anyone's advice. You learn to sit with your worries in sujood rather than sit with them in restless conversations. You cannot be truly strong until your trust is rooted in Allah. When you rely on people, your emotions rise and fall based on their behavior. But when you rely on Allah, you remain steady even when people change. Your heart becomes anchored. You stop being a prisoner to people's moods, reactions, and presence. They may disappoint you, but Allah never will. Strength is not found in depending on many people. It is found in depending on the one who never leaves. Allah does not ask you to avoid people. He asks you to avoid depending on them more than you depend on Him. You can love others, trust them, value them, and be close to them, but you should never make them the source of your peace. Peace comes from Allah. Hearts find rest not through companionship, but through remembrance. When Allah is the center of your heart, relationships become healthier because you no longer expect people to do what only Allah can. Relying on Allah protects you from heartbreak. You stop expecting humans to fulfill needs they cannot carry. People cannot heal your trauma, calm your mind, or guarantee your happiness. They cannot understand the thoughts you never expressed or the wounds you never explained. But Allah knows every whisper, every tear, every fear, and every unspoken emotion. You rely on Him because He understands the depths no one else can reach. Tawakkul does not mean sitting and doing nothing. It means doing your best while trusting Allah with the outcome. You plan, but you do not panic. You act, but you do not obsess. You try, but you do not lose hope. You put effort into your goals, but your heart remains relaxed because you know that what is written for you will reach you and what is not will never harm you. Reliance is the balance between effort and surrender. Allah tests your reliance when things go wrong, not when things go right. Anyone can trust when life is smooth, but true reliance appears in the moments of fear, loss, confusion, and disappointment. When your heart says, even now Allah is with me, you have understood tawakkul. When you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And begin asking, what is Allah teaching me? You have understood reliance. People may be sincere in their love, but they cannot protect you from all harm. They cannot be with you in every moment of fear, every night of overthinking, every hour of sadness. But Allah can. When you rely on Him, fear becomes smaller because you know you're under His care. Worry becomes lighter because you know He is managing what you cannot. Dependence on Allah turns anxiety into calmness. Overthinking fades when reliance grows. Most overthinking comes from trying to control what is beyond your control. You replay conversations, imagine outcomes, fear the future, and carry burdens not meant for you. But when you rely on Allah, you stop carrying the world on your shoulders. You trust that Allah will guide, protect, and sustain you. You let go of what is not yours and embrace the peace that comes from surrender. Relying on Allah strengthens your self-worth. You stop tying your value to people's approval. You stop needing validation from anyone. You stop waiting for others to acknowledge your pain or praise your efforts. When Allah becomes your witness, the silence of people no longer hurts you. You serve Him, not them. You seek His acceptance, not theirs. Your self-worth becomes rooted in your connection to Him. A heart that relies on Allah does not crumble under pressure. It bends but does not break. It feels pain but does not lose hope. It faces setbacks but does not fall apart. Reliance gives you emotional resilience. You learn to breathe through hardship, to heal through prayer, and to trust through confusion. You walk through life with a quiet confidence, knowing Allah is managing what you cannot see. When Allah becomes your support, you no longer chase people to understand you. You realize that seeking emotional safety from creation leads to disappointment. You stop expecting everyone to know your thoughts or fulfill your emotional needs. You rely on Allah to fill the gaps. You trust that He places the right people when needed and removes the wrong ones when necessary. Your heart stops breaking from expectations. Reliance on Allah opens doors you never imagined. When you place your trust in Him, He places opportunities in your path that you couldn't create on your own. He brings comfort from unexpected places, solutions from unseen directions, and blessings from sources you never thought of. Relying on Allah doesn't just protect your heart, it expands your life. True reliance is when your heart is calm even before the solution arrives. You don't wait for evidence to trust Allah. You trust Him because you know who He is, the most merciful, the most loving, the best planner. You stop attaching your happiness to outcomes and attach it to faith instead. A believer's peace comes from certainty in Allah, not certainty in circumstances. When you rely on Allah, loneliness becomes lighter. You may still live alone, sit alone, or walk alone, but you never feel alone. Your heart is accompanied by the one who listens when no one hears, who responds when no one can, who stays when everyone leaves. Relying on Allah turns solitude into companionship and quiet moments into worship. Relying on Allah teaches you to walk away from what harms you without fear. You stop staying in draining situations out of desperation. You stop tolerating disrespect out of fear of being alone. You stop clinging to people who bring you pain. You know that if you leave something for Allah's sake, He will replace it with something better. Not maybe, but certainly. Reliance gives you dignity. When Allah becomes your refuge, your support system, and your calm in chaos, your heart reaches a place where nothing in this world can truly break you. You may feel sadness, but you do not drown. You may face trials, but you do not lose faith. You may experience loss, but you do not lose yourself. Because the one who relies on Allah stands with the strength that comes from heaven. And when you reach that level of reliance, life does not become easier. You become stronger. Strong in faith, strong in patience, strong in clarity, strong in peace. Nothing can overpower a heart held firmly by Allah. And nothing can shake a believer who has learned to say with certainty, Hasbunallah, Allah is enough for me. Stop expecting others to understand your pain. Not every pain you feel is meant to be understood by people. Some struggles are sent by Allah specifically for you because He wants you to rise through them, learn from them, and come closer to Him through them. Expecting others to fully understand your heart is like expecting them to live your life. They haven't walked your path, carried your tests, or cried your tears. Even if they try to help, they can never feel your pain the way you do. Only Allah knows the depth of your wounds. When you depend on people to understand your struggles, disappointment becomes inevitable. You begin hoping for the perfect listener, the perfect comfort, the perfect advice, but no one can give that perfectly. Allah created every heart with unique battles and unique healing. You can explain your pain 1,000 times and someone still may not grasp its weight. Your peace does not lie in being understood by people, but in being understood by the one who created your heart. People see what you show, but Allah sees what you hide. You may smile in front of others while your heart aches in silence. You may act strong when you're breaking inside. You may love deeply even when you are hurting. Allah sees the pain behind your patience, the struggle behind your silence, and the sincerity behind your efforts. When you stop expecting people to notice what you go through, you start noticing how closely Allah watches over you. Expecting people to understand your pain makes you repeat your story to find relief. You talk to one person, then another, seeking validation, reassurance, or empathy. But the soul does not heal by retelling pain. It heals by surrendering it to Allah. Humans can listen, but Allah can heal. People can comfort you for a moment, but Allah can change your life. Your heart becomes lighter when you speak to Him more than you speak about your pain. The more you expect people to understand, the more misunderstood you will feel. You may start to believe no one cares, when in reality, Allah is protecting your heart from depending on the wrong people. Not everyone is meant to hear your hurt. Not every ear is trustworthy. Not every heart is safe. Not every mind is wise. Allah withholds understanding from others, so you are pushed toward Him. Your pain is not a punishment, it's a direction. When you stop expecting others to carry your pain, you discover strength within yourself. You realize that you do not need to rely on others emotionally to survive. You don't break every time someone fails you. You don't collapse when someone doesn't show up. You learn to build reliance from within, fueled by dua, strengthened by tawakkul, and healed through patience. You stop waiting for someone to save you and allow Allah to guide you. Do not hate people for failing to understand you. They are human just like you, limited in perception, wisdom, and emotional capacity. Some are silent not because they don't care, but because they don't know what to say. Some distance themselves not because they don't love you, but because they don't know how to help. Expect less from them and more from Allah. Forgive people for being human and trust Allah for being perfect. Sometimes Allah hides your pain from people to protect you from their judgment. Not everyone who listens wants to help. Some want to gossip, criticize, or use your vulnerability against you. Allah shields your heart by making your struggle private. He protects you from being misunderstood and misused. You don't need the world to understand your story. You need Allah to write its ending with mercy and wisdom. Your pain is not meant to weaken you. It is meant to teach you. Allah lets you feel the weight of sadness, so you learn the beauty of sujood. He lets you feel loneliness, so you can taste the sweetness of His companionship. He lets you feel abandoned, so you learn that He is Al-Wali, the protective friend. Every ache you feel is a reminder that hearts are secured not by people, but by their Creator. When you expect others to understand you, you feel frustrated by their silence. But silence is not rejection. Silence is space. Space for you to turn inward, reflect, heal, and choose Allah as your comfort. Instead of asking, why is no one supporting me? Begin asking, what is Allah trying to teach me through this? You will realize that your pain is carving maturity, wisdom, and spiritual depth into your heart. Overthinking increases when you assume people must validate your suffering before it becomes real. Pain is real even if you never speak it. Trauma exists even if no one witnessed it. Your tears are meaningful even if no one wiped them away. Human acknowledgement is not what makes your pain valid. Allah's knowledge of it is enough. He knew the wound before you felt it, and He knows the healing long before you see it. People can love you deeply and still not understand your pain. They may support you financially, but not emotionally, be present physically, but not mentally, care sincerely, but misunderstand repeatedly. Love alone doesn't equal understanding. And that's okay. Allah did not command people to fully comprehend each other. He commanded us to show mercy, patience, and compassion. Expecting perfection from people is a recipe for heartbreak. Letting go of expectations does not mean isolating yourself from others. It means freeing yourself from emotional dependency. You can share your pain without demanding understanding. You can accept advice without expecting solutions. You can receive support without expecting perfection. You stop seeking completion from humans and start seeking clarity from Allah. People become blessings, not necessities. If you make humans your emotional foundation, your peace will crumble with their absence. But if you make Allah your foundation, your peace will remain firm even if the world changes. People can comfort you, but they cannot complete you. They can care for you, but they cannot carry your destiny. They can pray for you, but they cannot rewrite your fate. Only Allah can hold your heart through every chapter of your life. When you stop expecting people to understand your pain, your relationships improve. You no longer blame others for the comfort they cannot give. You appreciate their effort rather than judge their inability. You value their presence without demanding perfection. You learn to love with kindness instead of condition. People feel safer around you when you stop expecting them to be flawless healers. Some pains are meant to be understood later, not now. Allah sometimes hides the wisdom behind your suffering until your heart is ready to receive it. You may not understand today why a friendship ended, a plan failed, or a prayer was delayed. But one day you will look back and say, if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be who I am today. Pain becomes a chapter of growth, not a prison of regret. Allah knows your thoughts before you speak them, your fears before you confess them, and your wounds before you show them. Even the tears you wipe away quickly are counted by Him. You don't need to explain your pain perfectly for Him to understand. You don't need to justify your sadness for Him to respond. He hears what your tongue cannot express and sees what your heart tries to hide. Allah understands without words. Stop expecting others to see your effort. Allah sees. Stop expecting others to appreciate your sacrifice. Allah appreciates. Stop expecting others to repay your patience. Allah rewards it. Recognize that your value lies in your sincerity, not in people's acknowledgement. When you do something for His sake alone, you are never unseen, underpaid, or unrecognized. Allah's recognition is worth more than the world's applause. Healing begins when you accept that your journey is yours alone. You can receive advice, support, and love, but your transformation is personal. Allah will teach you through solitude, strengthen you through hardship, and soften you through tears. Your growth does not depend on who accompanies you, but on how deeply you turn to Him. Pain shapes you because it pushes you toward the one who can heal you. And once you stop expecting others to understand your pain, your heart finally rests. You stop explaining. You stop defending, you stop replaying memories, you seek help from Allah, you find clarity in prayer, you find peace in patience, and you find support in faith. The moment you turn your pain into dua instead of explanation, Allah turns your burden into strength. And when Allah becomes the one who understands you, no misunderstanding from people can ever break you again. Strengthen your mind through dhikr and salah. Dhikr is not just the movement of the tongue. It is the oxygen of the soul. When you remember Allah, your thoughts begin to realign, your worries begin to soften, and your fears begin to shrink. A heart that remembers Allah cannot drown in anxiety, because remembrance brings clarity that fear tries to hide. You may not change your circumstances immediately, but dhikr changes how your mind reacts to them. It places peace where panic used to live. Salah is not just a physical act, it is emotional therapy from the one who created your emotions. Every time you stand in prayer, you leave the chaos of the world behind and stand in front of the one who controls it. You bow, reminding your ego to submit. You prostrate, placing your greatest worries at the lowest place, trusting Allah to lift you. Salah trains your mind to seek solutions through surrender, not through stress. Overthinking happens because the mind forgets who is truly in control. We replay scenarios trying to protect ourselves when Allah is already protecting us. Dhikr interrupts the cycle of anxious thinking by replacing fear with remembrance. When you say,